Hello, it's Alex. Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me for Friday SEWS. Last week I said that I would go to fortnightly, and of course typically I've got lots to show you, so I'm back already. Yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen. Anyway, I think I showed you both these fabrics and talked about my plans to make the top and the skirt, and yeah, sure enough, that is what I've done. So I thought I'd come back and do a bit of a review, and I am a little bit cold because it is pouring down with rain out there at the moment, so I hope that's not too distracting. It might mean that the birds are a bit quieter. Apparently they were a bit distracting last week. It's a bit difficult. I live on a busy road. If I record in the house I pick up traffic noise. If I record out here I have birds. Anyway, I'll do my best. I'll start with the skirt, and this is the Fibremood Alix skirt. That's Alex with an I. And I think when I talked about it I said that I have now got a Fibremood subscription that my mum bought for me, and with my subscription you get kind of 10 credits, no not 10, 5 credits every time they release a new magazine, which I think is it quarterly or every other month? Anyway, however many times a year. And this one I chose really because I thought it was very similar to the So Liberated estuary skirt, which, yeah, it is slightly different because the estuary skirt has gathers going into a fixed waistband, whereas this one has pleats. And then you've got the front button band. This one, the length I chose pretty much out of the packet, or off the PDF, and I like skirts quite long, but obviously you can change that. I'm fairly sure there are shortening lengths and lines on there that you can change that if you want to. And I liked the fact that it has pleats rather than gathers. I'm always saying I'm not keen on too much bulk around the waist, and I did think, looking at the drawings, that the pleats were sewn down, you know, for a few centimetres, which actually they're not. I've just pressed mine, but I guess there's no reason why you couldn't sew those down if you want to. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this, and I am really glad that I did do it. So the instructions were great. They are a little bit confusing around seam allowance, I would say. I think I've kind of now come to understand what is required and what's included and what isn't. But when you look at the instructions, they refer to you having to add seam allowance, which is really if you've bought the printed magazine and you're tracing off, you know, the sort of spaghetti junction patterns that come with it. If you buy the PDF, which is what I did, you get 3 PDF files, your print at home A4 and 2 A0 files to send off. All of those do include seam allowance. It doesn't actually say on the pattern instructions how much seam allowance is included. It took me a bit of investigating to realise that in those instructions somewhere is a diagram of the pattern and little numbers by the seams to indicate what the seam allowance is, and that it is generally 1 centimetre, except obviously on things like hems and possibly necklines. I just think there's even a paragraph that says seam allowance, and they don't actually write what the seam allowance is. It would have been, you know, saved me 10 minutes of faffing around, so that could, you know, little niggle. But other than that, I thought they were really good. I didn't pattern match, by the way. This is quite yeah, I mean, it's quite a bold pattern really, isn't it? There's a lot going on, it's pretty busy. And I think because it was that busy, I didn't feel, and because of the pleats and, you know, the sort of, yeah, I just thought I didn't need to pattern match it so much. I will do, lots of you said yes please to a pattern matching tutorial. I will do that soonish, I promise. I might even do that next, no, I'm not going to make any promises. Soon. One thing that's great, I don't know if it's all Fibremood patterns, but certainly this one has a really nice size range. It goes from a UK 4 to a 30. Can't remember if I made a 14 or a 16. I'll put it on the title below. It'll be one of the two, no doubt. But I did really like some of their methods. I thought the method for inserting, because it does of course have pockets, the method for doing the side seam pockets was, I don't think, one that I'd come across before. Nothing overly complicated about it, but just a slightly different take on doing side seam pockets, and I really liked it. They're also the sort of pockets that go up into the waistband, which I always find is a bit nicer when you can do that. It's now blowing a gale out there. Yeah, it is nicer when you can do that because it just keeps everything nice and neat. You don't have that weird thing of putting your hands in your pockets and having to bring them around from the back to the front. Yeah, so I really liked how the pockets went in, and I really liked also the way they did the waistband, because you know how often waistbands tend to go in one of two ways. You either sew it into the front, fold it over, fold under on the inside and then stitch in the ditch, or you know, you might do a bit of top stitching, or the opposite way around. And what this does is a little bit more like, well, like ready to wear, I guess. What they have you do is overlock the seam edge on the inside of the waistband, so you attach it on the outside, fold it over and then stitch in the ditch on the outside, but not folding under the inside of the waistband. I'll put some pictures, it might make it a bit clearer. So you have got your overlocked edge sort of on display on the inside, but it's just a lot easier than all that fiddling around trying to get it all neat on the inside. And if you didn't want that overlocked edge, if you wanted it to look a bit neater, you could always put some bias binding on that. And I just think that that is very possibly how I'm going to do my waistbands in future. So it's just a lot easier and quicker, and I honestly don't think it's any less neat. So yeah, really enjoyed it from that point of view. This fabric, by the way, is from Simply Fabrics in Brixton, and it was listed as ex-designer. Yeah, I always query what ex-designer means. I did once get some coating fabric that was described as ex-designer, and turned out it was from Zara, and I don't think in my mind that Zara is designer. So yeah, I always wonder what ex-designer actually means. Wherever it came from, it's beautiful quality. I don't know if it's still in stock, but it was an absolute joy to sew with. It really does feel like really nice, not so crisp it's gonna be uncomfortable to wear at all, but it feels lovely to wear, and it was an absolute joy to sew with. But yeah, really happy with this, and I'm going to wear it lots once our May decides to actually start behaving like spring and not like winter. And then, having made it, as I said, I ordered this fabric from Lulou Designs, specifically to go make myself a top to go with this skirt. I was attempting to pick out one of the colours from the fabric, and yeah, I had a little look. Once this fabric arrived, I had a look at what tops I already had that might pick out some of these colours. I do have this green one, so it's not an exact match to the green that's in there, but it's pretty similar. So yeah, I could have just stuck with that, but then it's quite nice to have more than one option, isn't it? And that's long sleeved, which I think when it gets warmer, I'm not going to want to wear long sleeves. So I was pleased to get this. I think this colour combination works really well. And this has got a rib on it. It didn't look like it showed brilliantly when I showed you the fabrics. I'm not sure if you can see the rib, but I just thought it gave it a little bit more interest and a bit more texture. But my plan has always been with this top that I wanted one with a square neck, and I was on the hunt for a square neck jersey top pattern, having had the Friday Pattern Company top, which is called, I think it may just be called the square neck top, and I bought that a little while ago, and that is designed also for jersey, although I think they've subsequently said it's now suitable for wovens as well. I did make that, I never actually showed you it, and it's been relegated to sort of nightwear status because a couple of things. I didn't like, it has, I mean, it's much more of a square in the corners. This has rounded corners, which is what I think makes it easier to sew and what helps it work. That one has mitered corners, I think, the named pattern, no, Friday, always got a block on those, Friday Pattern Company one, but it has a facing, and I think you're supposed to stitch it down by hand, sort of tack it, which I felt was a little bit dicey on a jersey fabric. Could have top stitched it, but I wasn't so convinced about that. But my main problem was that it absolutely gaped across the chest here and made me look really sort of pigeon chested. And obviously, no, I don't have a huge bust, but I had made it to my measurements and I could see that I was going to have to fiddle around to try and get the fit right, and obviously I never went back to it, didn't ever bother doing that. So when I made this one, or when I was thinking of making this one, I looked around to see if there was anything else that had a similar square neckline, and I found this one. And this is the Pattern Emporium Keep It Simple Babe tee. I'm not a massive fan of the names of their patterns, I'll be honest. The unwind, that's all right, but all these kind of, I don't know, anyway, just not my cup of char. But anyway, this is the Keep It Simple Babe top, and when I had a look at this pattern, I thought I'm definitely going to buy that, because I had huge success with my unwind tops not that long ago. I found them to be fabulous instructions and yeah, really, really versatile. And this one is just as versatile. It has, I think, 8 or 9 different necklines and about 6 or 7 different sleeves. It has obviously a standard crew neck and I think a slightly higher round neck, and then a low round neck. It has a turtleneck or a polo neck, as we would say here in the UK. And then it has, this is the low square neck, and then it has a higher square neckline. Yeah, as I say, a number of different sleeve lengths, and it can even be used in conjunction with that unwind top, so you can add the hood from the unwind. I think you can even mash up some sleeves from some of their other patterns to get different, I think maybe bell-shaped sleeves or some other sleeves anyway. So it seemed to me that it was a good pattern to try out, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit nervous about going straight in to do this square one. So I did a bit of a test version, and I did a test version with a crew neck, but just so I could see how the body fitted. It says it's semi-fitted, which I was hoping would work. This one here that I made out of this gorgeous fabric, it's, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's like a cotton jersey, but so much softer than cotton jersey normally is. I bought it in Fabworks when I went last weekend, or the weekend before, with Gemma, the hammy dressmaker. I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't buy more of it, to be honest, because it is so lovely to sew with. I did buy some in coral, yeah, similar kind of corally salmon pink colour to the dress that I made last week, and thank you so much to all the people that commented on that video and on how that colour worked for me. Because as I said, I was so out of my comfort zone, but I have to say I am quite excited. I do feel like I've found a new colour that works for me. So I'm glad that I bought some of this jersey knit in that colour, and I have to say expect to see more of it, because yeah, it's just the excitement of finding something new. Anyway, back to this. So yeah, I made this one out of this kind of oatmeal colour, and this is the crew neck, so I didn't go straight to the square neck, but it's the crew neck with cap sleeves, and I'll insert some photographs to show it to you. I am really pleased with it. I like the shape of it, it fits really nicely, but for me, I find the sleeves, this is a bit of a recurring theme with me, I find that the sleeves are too wide at the opening, which I think will be fine for a longer sleeve, but it's just personal preference, isn't it? I just prefer my sleeves not to stick out that much. So when I came to make this version, I did adapt the short sleeve pattern, and all I did was I sliced up the middle of the sleeve pattern and then overlapped at the bottom edge by about 1.5 centimeters, and that is the pattern piece that I then used for this version, and this is the short sleeve, and I am much happier because it's still got a tiny bit of, you know, extra there. It's not skin tight, but yeah, I'm just a bit happier with this. I'm surprised that this one was as wide as it was on me because I don't have slim arms anyway. But yeah, so once this one came together really well, which it did, as usual, fabulous instructions. I braved my cover stitch machine for my hemming and my sleeve hems, and I didn't bother stitching down the neckline. I'm always just a bit nervous of doing that really, because you can guarantee that's where you'll make some wonky stitch just right in the centre front there. But yeah, they really are beautiful instructions. They've got every bit of information that you need. So I then decided to brave it and make this one, and I am really happy with this. This is the low square neck with the high square neck, which doesn't seem to be a massively higher. It doesn't seem to be a huge difference between the two. That one is slightly different because all the rest of the tops have a neck band, you know, where you take your neck piece, you sew it so it's a loop, you fold it over along the long edge, and then you kind of quarter it and overlock it in, or zigzag. With the high neck one, you bind the neck. So it's slightly different because you overlock the edges, you sew one edge in, you turn it over, and then you stitch in the ditch a little bit. Yeah, well, it's binding, like a bias binding. So it's slightly different, which I guess is something to do with the shape of that neckline. And I just didn't want to, I just didn't want to risk it really with a fabric that I'd not used before and a pattern I'd not used before. So I went for this one, which is the lower one. And actually I'm really pleased with it, and I think it kind of works with the skirt. You know, I just feel it's got a slightly vintagey feel, which isn't necessarily my bag, but yeah, I really do like it. I think it works really well, and I think the colour works well. I'm pleased with it altogether as an outfit. So, and I like the length of this as well. I mean, I've tucked it in, as you can see, but I think the length, you know, if I was just wearing it over jeans or something, this is the short length, and there is a longer length option as well, which I guess would probably be kind of a more like here. But this one I'm really pleased about. I kind of want to tuck it back in now. I might just fold it. So, all in all, I had a really successful week sewing. So I've ended up with 2 new t-shirts and a skirt, and everything went to plan. But I don't know whether you might have spotted the mistake. This seems to be a mistake I'm making a lot. I have yet again managed to get my button band on the wrong way. I don't know what's happening with me. There's obviously some kind of mental block, but instead of it going that way across, it's going that way across. I don't suppose it really matters. Yeah, not sure what's going on. I'm determined that the next buttons I do will be the right way. So I'd really recommend both patterns. I should say that the link that will be below for the, what was it called again? Keep It Simple Babe top will be an affiliate link, which means I get a small percentage if you use that link to buy the pattern. It doesn't cost you anymore. I meant to say that at the top. But yeah, really like them both. I can actually see me making both patterns again. The pockets kind of almost hide behind the pleats at the side. Yeah, it's really nice. Very happy. So I think that's me pretty much done for today. I am not around at the weekend, so Sam, Frugalissima, she's, you know, here on YouTube. If you don't know Sam, you should go and check her out. But Sam's going to host the Clubhouse chat on Sunday afternoon at 15:30 British summertime. Not sure what the theme is. I should have got in touch with Sam to ask her. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be something fabulous. We had a great chat last weekend with Vix McBride, all about her. She makes a lot of costumes. She sews for a living, so that in itself is quite interesting. She makes lots of costumes and things for wrestlers and cosplay. It was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So yeah, if you want to go and join Sam and all the other sewists on Sunday and you haven't got an invite, get in touch. I will get one out to you. And apparently the Android app is very, very close to coming, so hopefully more of you will join us on a weekly basis. But until then, I may be back next week, I don't know, but I will definitely be back in a fortnight, if not before. So please look after yourselves. Let's hope this weather, if you're in the UK, warms up, because I'm cold now. I need to go and put a cardigan on. All right, speak to you soon. Bye bye.